The evolution of immigration enforcement under Donald Trump has marked one of the most radical transformations of federal policing in modern American history. What began as a campaign slogan, "Build the Wall," has metastasized into a nationwide enforcement regime that treats migration not as a civil matter, but as a form of criminal insurgency. Nowhere is this shift more visible or more alarming than in Minnesota, where the presence of immigration and customs enforcement has grown so expansive and aggressive that state officials are openly describing it as a federal invasion. Immigration enforcement in the United States has historically been concentrated at the border. Even during periods of mass deportation, federal agents were constrained by geography, law, and political norms from acting as a roaming internal police force. Under the Trump regime, that constraint has collapsed. Border policing has moved inland. ICE and Border Patrol now operate deep within American cities, conducting raids, traffic stops, surveillance, and armed operations far from any port of entry. This geographic shift is not incidental. It reflects a deeper ideological transformation in which immigrants themselves are redefined as criminal threats, regardless of legal status. After years of maximalist rhetoric about millions of undocumented criminals, the regime has struggled to locate enough deportable individuals to satisfy its own narrative. The result has had a snowball effect. Asylum seekers, long-time residents, and even U.S. citizens have increasingly found themselves caught in enforcement dragnets. Legal distinctions between civil and criminal law, between immigrant and citizen, have blurred in practice, even if they remain on paper. Minnesota has become a flashpoint in this national experiment following the fatal shooting of Renee Good, a 37-year-old mother killed by an ICE officer at point-blank range in Minneapolis. The state has witnessed a surge of federal agents numbering in the thousands, outnumbering local police forces in the Twin Cities. The Department of Homeland Security claims the deployment is necessary to combat crime and protect federal officers. State and city leaders see something else entirely: an armed federal force operating without meaningful oversight, accountability, or consent. Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison has described the deployment as unconstitutional, arguing that it violates the state's sovereign authority and endangers public safety. The state's lawsuit against the federal government characterizes the operation as a federal invasion, language that would have once seemed hyperbolic, but now feels disturbingly apt. Armed, masked agents conduct operations based on racial profiling, according to local officials, triggering panic across neighborhoods, shuttering businesses, and forcing schools to close or move online. The effects ripple outward, disrupting daily life for millions, not only immigrants, but citizens as well.
The only thing ICE is doing is ruining Minnesota, and this is sad to see because I have family that are getting deported constantly, and this is affecting me. This is affecting going to school because the kid that was took during the Target raid, I knew him. My friends knew him, and this is so disappointing to see. This is so disappointing to see. So I will stand up for it because never let journalism die.
The killing of Renee Good exposed the degree to which ICE now operates beyond traditional checks. Federal officials immediately claimed she attempted to run over officers, a narrative echoed by the president himself and senior administration figures. Video evidence later contradicted those claims, showing her vehicle turning away when shots were fired. Despite this, the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division declined to open a full investigation. Senior prosecutors have resigned en masse in protest, marking one of the most significant internal revolts at the department in years. That refusal to investigate is not an aberration, it's a feature of the current system. ICE functions with a level of autonomy that has led critics to describe it as an unregulated private militia, answerable primarily to the president alone. Unlike traditional law enforcement agencies, ICE officers are often shielded from local oversight, body camera requirements, and civilian review boards. When violence occurs, accountability is elusive. When evidence is contested, federal authorities can seize control of investigations, sidelining state and local officials entirely. The regime's response to dissent has only heightened tensions. Donald Trump has praised ICE agents as patriots, framed critics as enemies of public safety, and warned of reckoning and retribution for Democratic-led states like Minnesota. Such language is not merely rhetorical. It signals that immigration enforcement has become a tool of political punishment, deployed most aggressively where local governments resist federal priorities. The tactics on the ground increasingly resemble those of domestic counterinsurgency. Protesters near the Whipple Federal Building in Minneapolis have been met with tear gas. Memorials for Renee Good have been turned into confrontation zones. Students have staged walkouts in fear for their families. Entire communities, particularly Somali Americans, who make up the largest Somali population in the United States and call Minneapolis home, now live under the threat of sudden raids and deportation. Today's announcement by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to terminate temporary protected status for Somali nationals underscores this cruelty. TPS exists precisely to prevent the return of people to countries facing instability and violence. Ending it does not reflect improved conditions, so much as a broader strategy: the criminalization of humanitarian protection itself. Asylum, long recognized under international law, has been reframed as fraud. Refuge has become a loophole. Survival is treated as deception. What emerges from Minnesota is not simply a law enforcement controversy, but a constitutional crisis.
They don't care if they're hurting people. They do not care if they're hurting people because their only agenda is to steal people. It's just to steal people and keep them detained. It doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen. I've been here for 16 years of my life, and they probably take me because of the color of my skin. They're not judging you based off your citizenship. They're judging you off of accents, anything that doesn't justify their political gain.
Federal agents operating in overwhelming numbers, using force against civilians, suppressing protest and evading accountability evoke imagery more commonly associated with internal conflict than democratic governance. State leaders have compared the scenes to civil war, not because of ideology, but because of lived reality. Armored vehicles, barricaded buildings, gas in the streets, and armed men policing civilian life.
They don't care. They're mocking us. They're treating us like we're below human, like we're dirt under their boot. And it's disgusting to see because they're treating their own people like this. There's Asian officers in there. There's Hispanic officers in there. And it's sad to see because it's just showing the levels of corruption that is here in Minnesota still.
The danger of this moment lies in not only the harm already done, but in what it normalizes. When immigration enforcement becomes indistinguishable from military occupation, when asylum is treated as a crime, and when citizens can be injured or murdered without transparent investigation, the boundary between democracy and authoritarianism grows perilously thin.
I feel like our future, this political and the economic state of the world was not built for us. It wasn't built for us because it's constantly being ruined by things like this. When I was around 8 years old, I was protesting the shooting of Philando Castile with my mother. And now I'm 16 and I'm protesting here against ICE because this is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels against so many marginalized communities. And I'm going to say this was not built for us. This future was not built for us.
Minnesota might be the current battleground, but it is not unique. It is a warning. The criminalization of immigrants has evolved into the criminalization of dissent, of humanitarian protection, and of ordinary life itself. Once border policing becomes internal policing, no one is truly out of its reach. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.